The night was breathing frost. Snowflakes drifted through the pale streetlight glow, melting the instant they touched the ground. It wasn't a storm, only a soft, almost shy snowfall, the kind that made silence feel sacred. On the far end of the quiet avenue, a bus stop stood half, hidden under a flickering lamp, and beneath it sat a woman clutching her bag like a shield against the world. Her name was Maya, and everything about her, her posture, her trembling hands, the dull shine in her tired eyes, spoke of someone who had carried too much for too long. Her hospital shift had ended 2 hours earlier, but she couldn't bring herself to go home. Home wasn't warmth for her anymore, it was a reminder of everything that had fallen apart. A life once filled with promise, now only echoing with regrets. The wind tugged at her coat, teasing the edges of her hair that had escaped her bun. Her uniform, a pale blue nurse's outfit beneath the coat, was still dusted with the faint scent of disinfectant. She pressed her palms together, watching her own breath rise in clouds, and whispered something to herself, maybe a prayer, maybe just the fragile attempt to hold her pieces together for one more night. Down the street, headlights cut through the snow. A car slowed, its tires hissing softly on the wet asphalt. Inside sat Ethan, a single father who had forgotten how to rest. His daughter, Lily, was asleep at home, wrapped in a blanket that still smelled faintly of her mother. The woman he had lost 3 years ago to an illness that came like lightning and left devastation in its wake. Ethan had learned to keep going, not because grief got smaller, but because Lily's smile reminded him why he had to. He had been driving aimlessly that night, the kind of drive people take when silence at home feels too loud. When he saw the woman sitting alone in the cold, something in him tightened. She wasn't a stranger exactly. She looked like someone he had seen once in the hospital where his foundation donated supplies. But even if she hadn't been, there was a pull, that quiet recognition between two people who understood loss in its rawest form. He parked the car and stepped out. The snow crunched under his boots as he walked toward her. She didn't look up until he spoke. "Are you waiting for someone?" he asked, his voice low, carrying neither pity nor intrusion, only concern. She shook her head. "Just waiting," she murmured. Ethan hesitated for a second, then took off his scarf and held it out to her. "It's freezing. Please, take this." Maya wanted to refuse. Pride and exhaustion often walked hand in hand, but something in his tone made her accept. The scarf smelled faintly of coffee and cedarwood. "Thank you," she said quietly. He nodded, his breath forming a mist between them. "Come with me," he said after a pause, "at least until the buses start running again. My daughter's home alone, and I could use some company." Those words, "come with me," were simple, almost casual, but they carried warmth she hadn't felt in months. She studied his face under the dim light. He didn't look like someone with bad intentions. There was something open in his eyes, something safe. She stood up slowly, snow brushing off her coat. "All right," she whispered. "If you believe in kindness, compassion, and second chances, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Everyday Kindness. Because sometimes one small act of warmth can change someone's entire world." The drive was quiet at first. The radio played a soft piano tune, and the windscreen wipers whispered back and forth in rhythm. Maya stared out the window, watching the snow dance in the beams of the headlights. Ethan didn't ask her questions. He didn't need to. Some silences say more than words ever can. When they reached his home, a modest 2-story house with warm yellow lights glowing from inside, the air seemed to breathe differently. The moment she stepped in, the scent of cinnamon and cocoa wrapped around her. A few children's drawings hung on the fridge, and a tiny pink slipper lay by the door. "Sorry for the mess," Ethan said softly. "Single dad chaos." Maya smiled faintly for the first time that night. "It's lovely," she said, her voice unsure, as though she'd forgotten what comfort felt like. He gestured toward the kitchen. "Let me make you something hot." Steam rose from 2 mugs of cocoa as they sat at the small wooden table. Lily's picture was on the counter. A little girl with big eyes and missing front teeth, smiling wide as if joy were her natural language. "She's beautiful," Maya said. "She's my reason," Ethan replied simply. Maya's eyes softened. "You must love her very much," he smiled, but the smile carried weight. "She saved me," he said. For a while neither of them spoke. The clock ticked. Outside the snow continued to fall in slow, hypnotic flakes, and inside that small warm kitchen 2 broken souls began to thaw. By morning, sunlight poured gently through the curtains. Lily came rushing down the stairs, her laughter ringing like wind chimes. When she saw Maya, she paused, curious but unafraid. "Who are you?" Ethan smiled. "This is Maya. She helped me find my way home last night." Lily nodded solemnly, as if that made perfect sense, then ran to show her new friend her drawings. Maya followed, surprised at how easily the child's warmth melted her hesitation. For the first time in years, she felt seen without being questioned. Days turned into weeks. Maya started visiting often, sometimes to drop off groceries, sometimes just to check on Lily while Ethan worked at his community clinic. Slowly, quietly, life began weaving them together. Ethan noticed how Maya never talked about her past, and he never pushed her to. But one evening, when the sky blushed pink and gold and the first stars began to appear, she told him anyway. She had been a nurse at St. Mary's Hospital, dedicated, precise, compassionate, until one night, a patient under her care had died unexpectedly. It wasn't her fault, but the family blamed her. The hospital wanted to avoid scandal, so they suspended her, pending review. Her reputation shattered overnight. The guilt, even though undeserved, clung to her like a second skin. "I kept thinking," she said quietly, "if I had stayed a few more minutes, if I had checked again, maybe he'd still be alive." Ethan listened without interrupting, his gaze steady and kind. "You can't carry every death," he said. "You gave your best. That's what matters." She looked at him, eyes glistening. "But what if my best wasn't enough?" He reached across the table, covering her trembling hands with his. "Then you try again tomorrow." There was a long silence, the kind that feels like healing. Outside, snow had begun to fall again, soft, steady, forgiving. From then on, Maya's visits became part of their rhythm. She helped Lily with homework, cooked dinner, and laughed more than she had in years. Ethan found himself smiling again too, not because his grief was gone, but because it had found company. Some nights, after Lily had gone to bed, he and Maya would sit on the porch, watching the snow fall under the streetlight. They didn't need to talk about what they'd lost. They were learning to live with it together. Then one afternoon, while grocery shopping, Maya ran into an old colleague, someone who looked at her not with kindness, but with the cold memory of her past scandal. The woman whispered something sharp, something that reopened every wound Maya had spent months trying to close. That night, Maya didn't come by. Ethan found her at the same bus stop where they'd first met, sitting under the flickering lamp, snow gathering on her shoulders. "You can't keep punishing yourself," he said gently. She looked up at him, tears glistening like frost. "People don't forget, Ethan. Maybe I shouldn't either." He stepped closer, his voice steady. "Maya, you can't live in a world that refuses to forgive. You build a new one." Her lip trembled. "I don't know how." "Then let me help you." He extended his hand, the same way he had that first night, and said the same 3 words. "Come with me." She hesitated only a moment before taking it. His hand was warm, real, alive, and just like that, the storm inside her quieted a little. Back at the house, Lily was waiting by the window, her little hands pressed to the glass. When she saw Maya, she ran and threw her arms around her legs. "You came back?" Maya knelt down, hugging her tight. The warmth of that embrace did what months of therapy couldn't. It reminded her that she still had a place in this world. If this story has touched your heart, if you believe love and kindness can heal even the deepest wounds, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Everyday Kindness. Your support helps us bring more true, emotional stories of second chances to light. As weeks turned into months, the snow gave way to spring. The yard filled with tulips and laughter. Ethan's clinic grew busier, and Maya began volunteering again, helping patients, holding hands, bringing comfort without fear. She wasn't a nurse by title anymore, but by heart she always would be. One evening, as golden light poured through the windows, Ethan found her standing by the porch rail, watching Lily chase butterflies. The air was soft with the smell of new blossoms. "You know," he said quietly, "I used to think love meant never hurting again. Now I think it just means not hurting alone." Maya smiled faintly. "You're right. It's not the absence of pain, it's the presence of someone willing to sit with you while you learn to carry it." He looked at her, and for the first time in years, hope didn't feel like a fragile thing. It felt solid, it felt like home. Because that's what love truly is, not a fairy tale, not perfection, not a cure for pain. It's the quiet miracle of ordinary days. It's sharing laughter over breakfast, watching the snow melt into spring, helping someone else heal while you're still healing too.